Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Trans and EM Friendly Fridays. Today I have with me Lua. We're going to be talking about a lot of really awesome things. How you doing today, Lua?
Great. Much.
Good, good. Well, I'm glad to have you here. I know you reached out, you wanted to talk about a few specific things, but if you don't mind, first I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your experience as a trans person and what that has meant to you.
Uh, well, I started transitioning when I was 26. I am 30 years old, and it's a binary transition.
Hmm.
And great, I started this having job as a psychologist in a really prestigious university. I also had my parents and my brother, my sister-in-law next to me.
Hmm.
And the journey has been great. Dating at the beginning was a little bit, di- I think we all have been in that path. But then I met this awesome guy. He's a cisgender man,
Hmm.
straight gender man, and he's awesome. He's really awesome. I always laugh because I think um, he's more he's like always following the debates, following the discussions, and
Hmm.
let me know how does trans community in the states and the problems and the situation. So he's really nice. We live together. We are together. I think almost 2 years now. We live together. We have a cute dog. We have a cute cat, and he has been there with me before most of my surgeries too. And he's not a chaser. That's something really nice that I don't feel like objectified or something like that.
Hmm.
And he doesn't hide me, which is really, really awesome and really great. Country like Mexico and Latin America is really, really difficult for trans people. I think it's difficult in most parts of the world, but the stigma in Mexico, I think we have the macho culture more emphasized here.
Hmm.
So it has been a really great experience. I am in hormones so far. I am
Sorry, you cut out there for a second. How many
yeah.
months? Sorry, you cut out. You said you were going to say how long you've been on HRT, and it cut out there for a second.
I'm sorry.
No worries,
I
that's okay.
have been on HRT 3 years so far.
3 years. Okay.
3 years. Uh, I also have the boob surgery, face surgery. What else? Uh, the orchiectomy too, so I
Hmm.
don't have to be on blockers. That's really, really awesome because too many pills sometimes.
Yeah.
And and experience has been great. I mean, you have to deal with discrimination sometimes,
Hmm.
mostly when you are uh, in the beginning of the transitioning, and in some to disappearing, or you start to be seen like no, you don't get the looks that you
Hmm.
receive when you are starting. So
Right.
I don't know if that's good or if that's bad because it sucks uh, that the you feel when you're outside, the way that
Yeah.
people can look at you. So that's really an situation. But I think I have a privileged transition. I feel really privileged, and since that privilege, I have been doing a job as a psychologist. I to to start providing psychotherapy to my community, to trans patients, students mostly. They are super young, and I also have a group therapy, so can trans people gather and talk about the tragic the wars, and also about the hope, about what goes great. The other day we were talking about someone having a job, or in Canada, someone getting a job in a really good company, and
Hmm.
that's the kind of stuff that we also do in the group. We don't only see the bad in this world. We try to build ourselves a place to exist, since
Hmm.
another narrative, since another perspective. So yeah, my experience as a trans woman has been really, really good. It makes more sense. I always say this. It makes more sense for me to be a female psychologist, a female psychoanalyst, a female couple, a girlfriend, than a boyfriend, than a male psychologist, than a male psychoanalyst. So I think one of the reasons for my transitioning was in order to sense this word was so confusing before transitioning and so awkward all the time.
Yeah.
So uh, introduce you to my boyfriend. Maybe he's there. I can
Oh,
just show him on
yeah,
the video.
sure.
Come on, back. I want to introduce, and he's a fan of yours.
Oh,
All
hi. How's it
right.
going?
Oh, it's great.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, it's good to see you two. You two look like a really cute couple.
He's Jordan. And yeah, okay. That's like as far as my transitioning,
Mhm.
what I can. Well, I don't know if you want to ask something else or.
Yeah, sure. Well, I did. You said that you did have a couple of surgeries and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your recovery process and how that was like. What were your feelings through that?
Uh, Surgery that I had was my boob surgery, and it was the most painful surgery that I have had so far. Recovery was difficult. It took me like 7 days to not feel. I was not able to stand by myself, or to go to the bathroom by myself, or to shower by myself. My parents were with me the whole time,
Wow.
and my best friend, she's a cisgender woman, and she's
Hmm.
super great. She's super great, and they were. Uh, they play a huge role on my surgeries, in all my surgeries. And it was a really bad experience because I have no clue of surgeons, no clue in Mexico. Before transitioning, I never searched for surgeries at all. And then a friend told me, okay, there's this great surgeon in Mexico City. He did my nose, and okay, to go for it. So I speak with this surgeon, and he did my nose job, my boob job, and it was super. I didn't know the price. I didn't know the cost. I just take a loan from my bank and my savings, and I did it. Then I realized that there was a more easy way to do it with other surgeons, and cheaper, a more cheaper way to do it too.
Hmm.
So it was really disappointing. It's done, and that was the first surgery. That was in October uh, 2008, I think. And then did my orchiectomy, and that was last year. Really, really easy. That was a specific surgeon that works with trans community, so everything was great. Even when the hospital, I think, was with a Jesus Christ in the wall and a huge Virgin Maria.
Hmm.
Uh, the staff of the surgeon, or the staff linked to the surgeon, was super great. No misgender at all. Nothing was super, super great. And it was like 3 hours, I think it lasted, the surgery, and then the recovery was like 3 days, but
Hmm.
one day with pain, and then was super uh, easy. I was able to cook by myself, to do everything by myself, and yeah, that was the second surgery. The third surgery was my face. They did my nose, and they
Hmm.
also did my chin. They chin. They also some fat on the lips, the front head,
Mhm.
and they did, I don't know how to say it in English, but a bichectomy, I think.
Mhm.
They took out fat sacs here, and that's what make you look like you are super skinny. And
Gotcha.
they did
Yeah.
that to my face, and it was a really, really cheap surgery. It
Mhm.
was compared with dollars. I mean, here it 100,000 Mexican pesos. That could be like maybe five.
Mhm.
So what some surgeons charge in the States for facial feminization. It was really, really good. And the surgeon has a specialty in uh, face surgery. He did that specialty in Beijing, and he is also an allied for trans community. And his sister is my endocrinologist, and she's a trans woman, and she's an activist here in Mexico. And it's
Hey.
great. It's great because before her, I was in a clinic, and the clinic was like all what I make in my job was straight to the clinic, straight,
Mhm.
all. Because the clinic was like, okay, you have to see our psychologist, you have to see our psychiatrist, you have to come once or twice per month. You have to do the labs here. You can buy the hormones here, and I think one of the issues when we try to access health. The first thing is not to know where to go. I don't know if that happens in the States. But when you decide to go, because you're thinking, okay, should I go to do my labs? Should I go to the doctor? Am I gonna be mistreated? Am I gonna be misgendered? It's gonna be awkward. Are they gonna do laser on me? Because I don't know if they can work with trans people or if they're gonna be bad about it. They're gonna be mean, or it can be like
Yeah.
a hate company, or I don't know. Once you that and you go,
Mhm.
then you find yourself in the situation when they can just see you as uh, a money bag, and they can take out of you. And the second thing is, if they don't do that, they may not be trained in trans health. They may not know how does it work. So it's a really, really huge issue to access to healthcare. But once you access, they are not specialized, and I will not say about to be conscious or sensible about trans community in the way to refer to a person, in the way to treat a person. I don't know, not about that. I think about uh, good or not for you. So I don't
Mhm.
know. It was really disappointing. Maybe I am circling around, but it was really disappointing. Now I'm in a good place. My endocrinologist is great, and she also does something great. She charged I think $80. That's the minimum for an endocrinology consultation.
Oh.
And she also receives donations from other persons, companies, groups, and she transforms donations into surgeries or into uh, clinical consultations or hormone treatment. So
Mhm.
it's great. That's one of my role models. That was like when I met her and I saw her website, and she was able to give this support to our community. I start thinking I want to do the same. I want to do
Yeah.
the same as a psychologist, because it's hard when you go to a psychologist or when you go to a psychiatrist.
Mhm.
You don't know. I have heard from colleagues crazy stuff about sex gender diversity. Like, I feel like I am in the uh, 1900s, because it's crazy how they speak about us. And when I when I finish uh, when I my transitioning, and the person stopped being with me, I start being Lua.
Mhm.
And my psychoanalyst once told me, "Oh, now you want that Manuel." that Manuel was his name, you want that Manuel be now Manuela, and Manuela is the name for Manuel in feminine.
Right.
So I was like shocked. I think session finished, and I was like, I cannot believe that he made this intervention.
Yeah.
It was super emotional. It was out of place, and I just stopped going with him because I really need a space to work, space to work on my mental health, because it's not about you being trans make you being sick, or make you being bad or stressed. Yeah, in this world, yeah, it can contribute. But also, every person has mental health problems.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you're not. So I really needed him to be there, and he was not able to. Then I changed my psychoanalyst, and I started seeing another one link to the university where I study,
Mm-hmm.
and it was because he was great, but one him like introduce a clinical case in front of a bunch of people, a bunch of colleagues, and he started saying, I'm not going to speak about the causes and the theories about homosexuality, but exist. Those theories exist. And then he started speaking about the clinical case, about the patient, and they only focused on he being homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's ethical, because it's like person is reduced to being trans, or to being gay, or to being lesbian, and you don't see the bigger picture. And I think that's what disappointed me. And then I stopped going with her. And now I'm with a psychoanalyst. He's in Argentina. He is part of the sex gender community, and he's great.
Good.
He's great.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. That's a good segue, I think. We can move into a little bit of what you wanted to talk about. You said you're in, is that psychotherapy that you're in?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing there?
Well, I studied psychology in a state university, and I also studied psychology in a national university in Cordoba, in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am in the second year of my master and doctoral degree in psychoanalysis. So I've been doing for 5 years. I work in the Genomic Science Center. It belongs to the National Autonomous University of Mexico. That was my main job for 5 years until March of this year. I decided to finish it and focusing on my private practice. And it was really funny because a place that is focused biomedics, or by evolutive biology, or molecular biology, or cellular biology, like no and no respectable biologists will ever say something against trans community. And I hear a lot this argument that biology against trans women, trans men, trans person, like time. But was there, they do first level research on biomedics, and no, they even have a program with Diego Cortez. He's in sexual genomics, and he studies the change of sex in other species. So it's complex. I don't know if the people that argues against trans with biology discourse, like in biology one in elementary school. I don't know, but complex biology doesn't say anything about us. Anyway, and I tried to apply to a psychoanalytic association, and it's one of my biggest hits of reality, because they didn't let me in because I was trans. They didn't let me in. They were like, okay, we see your autobiography, because you have to write an autobiography, and they tell me, we see your autobiography is fragmented. So fragmented means that they are like saying it even when they don't say it. They are saying that I'm psychotic. because there is a theory in psychoanalysis and also in dynamic psychiatry that says that we trans people are psychotic. We are a spectrum of psychotic functioning. And psychotic in a good way, because we can talk about psychotic functioning and it's just a type of structure. It's not bad, it's not good. It's just what it is. But they about psychotic like in the media. They are talking about a really bad sense. And then this psychiatrist asked me if I had a vagina or if I did the surgery. And I was like, I cannot believe that they are just
Yeah.
asking me these questions for a position, master's position inside the academy. I was like shocked. At the end, they told me, okay, you have nothing bad in your academic profile, but we need to have someone like you here. So you to come back next year, you can apply again, and you can give us time uh, to take a course with professors or to give a course, and they can be more capable to link. So disappointing, and I realized that psychoanalysis didn't change a lot from the time that says that we're just hysterical just because,
Hmm.
and we haven't over the hate in medicine or in psychology. I mean, we get over or we get past the homosexuality being considered a disease, but now we are against trans people in medicine or in psychology or in psychoanalysis. They are not safe space for us. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to have my perspective since communitarian psychology, since queer theory, since anthropology, and I have proposed what something that they are doing in Argentina, that is dissident analysis, a dissident psychotherapy, when you
Hmm.
can listen to people without stigmatizing if they are trans, if they are gay, lesbian, etc. So the psychoanalysis that I propose and that I practice is one that recognizes itself, and I'm just here, I have here my notes because I was thinking about this. One to recognize itself institutionally in its capacity to reproduce the mandates, imperatives, canons, classifications, and binary ways of conceiving sexuality and human subjectivity that distance us to the psychoanalyst and psychotherapist from those theoretical practical proposals that vindicated the ways of understanding mental health like hundreds of years ago. This happened. Psychoanalysis was really, really good hundreds of
Hmm.
years ago. And I also do a practice that exposes itself to questioning, that allows itself to be affected and modified by the voices of others who historically have been silenced and made invisible, not only in the public sphere, but also in those theoretical bodies and clinical practices in which their existence were buried under the binary categories of male, female, masculine, feminine. Because I think psychoanalysis and psychotherapy and even psychiatry has too little to community, but it has a lot to learn from us. We have a lot to learn from our experience, from our pleasure, from our sufferings, from our desires, and you cannot just create a theory and then create a technique, a psychotherapy technique to treat someone that you don't know. Like a priori you are making statements that has an impact in the outside, in social, in in the culture, in the way people see us, and you are not including the voices of the people that you are making statements about. So I
Right.
really, really shitty.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
We see that a lot, especially even in places where it doesn't really matter as much, even in like online discourse, right? You'll see all these content creators talking about like, oh, this is the trans thing and this is the new trans thing and this, bathroom bill, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they'll have a panel of like 6 to 8 white cis dudes talking about a trans issue. And I'm like, why? Why you couldn't afford one slot for a trans person at all? Just one. Just a single one? No? Okay. Yeah, no, but it's everywhere. I feel like a lot of times we get talked over and spoken for, and that's not good.
I think the same. Uh, I don't think it happened here in Mexico a lot because we don't have a complex platforms to
Hmm.
talk about trans issues. We are not that we're not there yet because I think we are not the same in the States because as more visible you are, more repressive the other side gets.
That's
I
right.
think we're gonna get there at some point. I think so,
Yeah.
but I just see the debates on YouTube, and it's crazy how these people that they have no relation with trans communities at all, that they imagine something and they see us as a threat for the family, for because the family is super good in the whole world. So it's we are affecting the role model of family because family are the best thing that could ever happen to us. Uh, they see us like a threat for everything, for the kids, for the
Yeah.
child, for the moral. It's crazy. And I see these people, this hate device like a symptom. I understand. I don't engage with them because I think a symptom of a social, political, and economical system where the ability to link with the other that is different from you is compromised.
Hmm.
Because like super quick in the daily, we have to work, we have to produce. We see the other as an enemy. We cannot see it as an equal. And if that other is different, if that other has like a difference that we can see because we are get used to see the same in the daily day, in school, in TV. When
Hmm.
we see something that breaks that normality, we that as a threat. It's the first interpretation you do. And then if you start talking about someone since the threat, since the danger, if the other one is a foreign, well, it's something that is full of hate.
Hmm.
And I think these people is just a symptom of this current political, economic, social system that we are all involved. So it's because what these devices make is just create panic because everyone is gonna want to protect their kids or their family from us, you know. And it's the same that happened with madness when it was first studied as madness. We can see it in History of Madness of Michel Foucault. We can see it with the women how they were treated when in the Victorian era. We can see how was treated homosexuals in the before the 1980s, and
Hmm.
now we're seeing trans people. It's like we think we are at the, I mean, they think that we are enemy. They think that we are like the problem, but not the system. I think that happened with psychologists. We are capable to heal them, to treat the system. We are so incapable to change the system that we start doing conversion therapies to treat what we think is the problem.
Hmm.
We think that the problem is sex gender diversity and
Hmm.
not the problem is not that you have to work in order to have healthcare. And the moment you don't work, you don't have healthcare. Like how doesn't call the attention that psychology psychiatrist, right? It's like crazy. I think it's more easy to do a conversion therapy than do a critique to this current system that we are all involved.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it is hard for people to keep track of the source of their strife, especially if as you alluded to, if you are kind of working class and you're working paycheck to paycheck and you've got kids and a house to keep up and stuff like that, you don't really necessarily have time in your day to expand your horizons and open your mind to trans people, right? But I think one of the best ways that people do this, in my experience anyway, is to have somebody close to you who's trans to come to you and share their experience with you. So that's why I encourage like all of my friends who come to me and they say, oh, I'm definitely trans, but like I haven't told anybody and I haven't told my family and I haven't, looked into HRT and stuff like that. I encourage you, no, go for it. HRT is something that like you can stop if you decide it's not for you, and that's okay. That's fine. So there's very little consequence to like actually just like looking into it and kind of exploring with that. The only thing you really have to look for is, what social consequences are there. And, if I want to touch a little bit on another point you made about, gay people and all that other minorities and stuff like that, I just came across a post about, I think it's Saudi Arabia is hosting the World Cup for football this year. And they said something about how if you're in the audience, you shouldn't bring any pride flags. And if we see any pride flags, we're going to be taking them from you. And
Wow.
they're saying, oh, it's meant for protection of the person because they might get attacked by other patrons or other viewers or something like that. But really, it's just like the people that are like hosting the event are saying stuff like, we're not going to change our culture for 28 days just so we can host the World Cup. But it's like, if you're going to host like the world, I don't know. It seems like you should at least let the world be there. But I don't know. But it's that's that same kind of like, and that's just gay people, right? That's not even touching trans people or non-binary people or anything like that. That's just homosexual people. That's just the gay pride flag that they're talking about there. And that's just like, we have so much more far to go as a world society, as far as like our progress there for all kinds of queer people across the board.
Yeah, and we have all this hate speech. It's for me it's amazing how people engage, because we think it's irrelevant, but when you have a million followers, or you have more than that, and you say something bad about trans people, that encourage hate crimes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we are in this moment that we are more visible. We also are more exposed to have to justify our existence.
Mm-hmm.
We have to prove that we are trans. Someone comes around and says, I have no dysphoria, it's like, not trans. And I'm like, why not? We know too little, we know too short about subjectivity. That I don't know. I just think that you cannot just say that. I mean, dysphoria is the argument.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the base to access to hormone treatment sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it's not everything. And,
Right.
and we have to say like, oh my God, but if anyone can just wake up in the morning and say that they are trans, they are gonna rape somebody in the, like, God, if you are talking about a psychopath, he or she or they, it doesn't matter if they're trans, it doesn't matter if they're cis, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. But and it's not like something that you have to blame trans people for it. It's like you may have to blame again the superstructure, the system, this system that allows that in Mexico 12 women per day are disappeared and murdered, or that our life expectancy of me as a trans woman have 5 more years of life. Life expectancy in Mexico is 35 years old, not because our bones get more tiny and tiny with hormones and we disappear. No, it's because people kill us. People murder us. No, it's not like hormones just make you go away spontaneously. No. And we don't have options also. The options is like sex work or is work in the primary sector. We have lack of options. Me, I think it was really lucky because I was able to do my transition after I finished my studies. And I came out as a trans person when I have already a contract, a permanent contract with the university. I always make these questions. I don't know if you guys, when I was in a symposium, I don't know if you guys were hire me. I just in the day of the interview uh, came as a trans woman without hormones, without surgeries. Because also we have these beauty concepts that we were talking the other day in our psychotherapy group. That if you are pretty, or if you are handsome, or if you look good in the canon, if you pass, it's okay for you to be trans. Okay. But if you don't, that's the stigma again. Is more cruel, is more difficult to access. And I mean, imagine study psychology, being in the bachelor, being doing your major, and that a PhD or a professor corners you and tells you, how are you going to introduce patients? Woman, as a man, as what? Because I saw that on a non-binary person that was studying with me at that time. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm not going to come out as a trans woman in this university. I need to finish, I need to get a job. So it's really hard. And also this this speech about hate, and I think the hate is, I don't know why it's more cruel trans women. I don't know, it's because we are women and we're also trans, and that makes us more vulnerable in this context, in this patriarchy. But the other day I was in the elevator, and the elevator, this was this black guy. He was like 50 something, I think, and he's like, damn, you're beautiful. And I was like, excuse me. And he's like, oh, do you live here in this building? And I'm like, yeah, I live here. Oh, what is your name? And I'm like, Lua. And I just left the elevator, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I give my name to this guy? Because I was really like, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And then I just came in, I speak with my boyfriend. He's like, I think that guy works with me. And then they have a conversation when he started telling my boyfriend, I think I saw a trans woman in the elevator. And my boyfriend starts speaking with him more, and he has this hate speech against trans people being able to adopt, trans, etc., that we are not women, that we, all that speech. And I was like, he just called me beautiful.
Yeah, this is the
And
same guy that was like calling
yeah,
you beautiful and
it
asking
was
you
the
what your name
same guy.
was and where you
Yeah,
live.
so
Like,
yeah.
okay.
So when I see these characters in YouTube talking shit about us, I'm like, you insist that much because there's desire there. There is a desire there. Like, you don't get obsessed with something that you are not comfortable with.
Right.
You don't get that much attention. And then now in conversations with my boyfriend, he started telling him that he has trans friends. And I'm like, oh, babe, that's the key for chasers.
Yeah.
Trans friends is like, and he starts saying that he's dating, but, and then my boyfriend was telling me it's weird because he intentionally was misgendering the woman which who he dated, and it's like, you don't need to call her him. My boyfriend said that to him. You don't need to call her like he, and you don't need to misgender her. Yeah, it's a woman. Just say her. That's all. And he is like, oh, okay, and and I'm like, these coping mechanisms that they develop for just let themselves being with us in the private, but in the public they have this whole movement against us. It's crazy. It's crazy because in Argentina, most of the guys that hire sex work services, they do it with trans women. They don't do it with other persons. But in public, they are against us, against we having human rights, or we been able to marry it or something else. So
Right.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. No, I think we'll hopefully one day get to that level of acceptance where those types of folks are fading out to the background, and we're seeing more and more support across the board. People like your partner are amazing people, and we need more people like them in the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. I saw this Tristan uh, phenomena, and I was like, damn, we 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 trans women are so mistreated, so mistreated, that when we see someone that is publicly open about us, we see this dude as our savior,
Yeah.
and then it turns out to be a chaser. No, since the perspective of some people. Anyway, I don't know if he's or he's not. I'm not to engage with what he
Mhm.
posts or says, Tristan. But I think that I wish in some moment stop being revolutionary that someone publicly says that as a trans girl, because my boyfriend is super open about it,
Mhm.
and I don't see him as my hero. I think we are in equal condition. So I think we deserve more, we deserve better, we deserve not to feel uh, like they are doing us a favor for loving us publicly.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Um, that adds a little bit of a power dynamic, which always makes things complicated when you start adding stuff like that. But was there anything else maybe you wanted to talk about before we wrap up here for the night?
No, I just think that there's another ways to have access to mental health,
Mhm.
ways that since other perspective, non-pathologizing perspective, uh, I think sometimes people just need to be listened, and people just need to be accompanied. People just need to be in a group. And this is not minimizing depression, anxiety, or other conditions that needs to be treated with medication with uh, more complex approach. But for trans people, I think the first is to have a space, a safe space to speak about our life and not be reduced to the trans part of our existence. So I really appreciate this space. I was super nervous. I think I'm still are. I'm super cold and shaking because this is the first time that I am talking about something about my career in English. I have never done this before. All my patients are abroad, but they are like Spanish speakers. And my boyfriend is the one that encourages me. I am doing this communitarian work with my patients, trans community with my community.
Mhm.
But I think he has been the one pushing me out of the closet. Like, you need to speak, you need to talk, you need to share. And I appreciate this space a lot. It's not that uh, he told me to do it. No, I wanted to do it. I saw your videos and I think you're great. This space is great. It's awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity. I hope one day to come with a more specific speech and less nervous and less anxious. But so far, I am super happy with this.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really great to hear. I for what it's worth, I think you speak very fluently, and I had no problem understanding you at all. So, your boyfriend is right to encourage you. Keep it up. Absolutely. I do want to thank you, of course, for coming out and speaking with me. It was a pleasure having you. I would love to have you on again. I think you offer a unique perspective. And yeah, anytime there's something you want to chat about, just hit me up and I've got a space for you here, okay?
Thank you so much. Well, hugs and kisses for you, and I hope you can rest a little bit during the day. And
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck with your new apartment.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah, thank you. And take care. Have a good week. And yeah, chat with you later. Bye bye.